Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to the 9 p.m. live English news edition. The headlines. The president hosts a reception for members of the Presidential Campaign Committee. The Minister of Foreign Affairs meets his Russian counterparts in Moscow. And for the international news, G7 expected to discuss donation of vaccines to the poorest. Hello, welcome again. Welcome to our newsroom for having the news in details. The President of the Republic, His Excellency Mr. Ismail Margeles, sent today a congratulatory message to his Russian counterpart, Mr. Vladimir Putin, whose country celebrates the anniversary of the National Day. In his message, the head of state wished Mr. Putin good health and happiness and more progress, prosperity and fulfillment for the Russian people. The people and government of Djibouti also joined me in expressing their sympathy to the friendly Russian nation. President Gillen noted in his message. He then took the opportunity to express his delight in the quality of the relations and friendship and cooperation that exist between the two countries and the two peoples. Be sure, Mr. President, that you will always find with me all the support necessary to strengthen the level of collaboration and exchanges between our two nations, he wrote in this sense, reiterating his wish for a happy holiday to all Russian citizens. Now, national news, a great ceremony gathered yesterday to the world politics at the Djibouti Palace Kempinski after his brilliant re-election to the Supreme Magistracy on April 9th. The head of state and his wife invited to a lunch all members of the government, leaders of allied parties, members of the campaign committee, and various members of the commission and the sub-commission, as well as many associations of women and youth. This lunch was an opportunity for the President of the Republic to thank all the supporters and sympathizers who took part in this election campaign. The president was keen to pay a tribute to all these forces of the nation, without which could have happened this resounding victory. A lunch held in a festive atmosphere also noted on the sideline of the guest a strong female participation and the youth linchpin of the campaign.
garasha ugu jeexa gela wada muujiyo hadiya jeer wadae inaad waajibka gudatay bay idinki kaarayne jaranjarooyin adag iyo intaad jiira soo dhaaftay eed meela qayrka ku jabay adigu soo jiidhay way runta lagama jeeste intaa jariya buur fanatay ee aad Jabuuti awadeed jirab kasta u mudatay way qof jiraysan mooye shacbigu jeer hoo qiray jaranjarooyin adag iyo intaad jiira soo dhaaftay eed meela qayrka ku jabay adigu soo jiidhay way runta lagama jeeste intaad jariya buur fanatay ee aad Jabuuti awadeed jirab kasta u mudatay way qof jiraysan mooye shacbigu jeer hoo qiray jawilagu isqaadiyo wax qaba dunida soo jiitay ka jawaabka baahida jirtiyo waxay bulshadu jiidan jirida u yagleel horumar jiil dambi u aayo mashaariicda kala jaadka qodobka laga jaraayo jihaad baad ku keento raxmaan kuguma hoojiye yagleel horumar jiil dambi u aayo mashaariicda kala jaadka ahee qodobka laga jaraayo jihaad baad ku keento raxmaan kuguma hoojine intaad hawl u soo jilib dhigtaa jaallow loog yahaye daliilka abaalmari dantaad jeer kastaba fuline intaad hawl u soo jilib dhigtaa jaallow loog yahaye daliilka abaalmari dantaad jeer kastaba fuline intii jecel wanaagaaga cibrigii jiryow caafimaad nagula joog aabbo adowgii jabyow caafimaad nagula joog aabbo jabuutina allaha nooga dhiga jagadii liibaanta.
Let's listen now to the speech of the President of the Republic.
الرحمن الرحيم الصلاة والسلام على رسوله الأمين سيدنا وحبيبنا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم. Mesdames, Messieurs les membres du comité de campagne électorale présidentielle du 19...
Ladies and gentlemen, members of the Presidential Electoral Campaign Committees of April 9th, 2021, dear militants, my dear companions, praise to Allah, peace and blessing, be upon the Prophet and his family and companions. It is with deep joy and I meet you again on this convivial occasion. First of all, I would like to express my pride for the battle you have been waging by my side in the name of our conviction, in the name of our hopes, in the name of Djibouti, of its children, of our fellow citizens. By crisscrossing the district, the cities, our villages during this electoral campaign, together we have carried a message of dignity, unity, patriotism to defend the Republic, its ideas, its values, to share our vision of development, of the trajectory of our country, the future of our nation. It is because everyone was aware that the stakes went beyond our persons and simple partisan interest that the mobilization was there. Let's continue with the head of state, the rest of the address, who has thanked the crowd.
Notre responsabilité à transformer l'espoir que nous avons suscité en action concrète capable de changer la donne pour chacun de nos concitoyens.
The victory that the vote offered us is the fruit of our commitment, of your mobilization, and I thank you for it. This victory is a deposit, an immense responsibility to transform the hope you have raised into concrete actions capable of changing the situation for each of our fellow citizens. Our youth has been at the forefront. It is towards them that I direct more than ever the efforts of the new government in order to find the best solution to their needs. The women of our country have my admiration. They are part of all battles, of all the challenges, and I know I can count on them, on their courage to continue to carry our nation and to nourish it with beautiful hopes. To our living forces, to our elders, they are the sap and the wisdom of our people. I commit myself for them and with them to continue to build our dear country in peace and serenity. I thank you all. Another news now, the head of Djiboutian diplomacy made a working visit to Moscow from June 8th to 10th. Mohammed Ali Kamel, defense advisor to the President of the Republic, Colonel Mustafa Hamdullah, the director of the bilateral relations at the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, Ambassador Yassin Hussein Douale, and the director of the Institute of Diplomatic Studies of the Ministry, Mr. Mohammed Abdul Qadir Musa. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation government spokesperson, Mr. Mohammed Ali Yusuf, held talks with his Russian counterpart, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Sergei Lavrov. The discussion of the two parties focused on bilateral relations between the Republic of Djibouti and Russia, the ways and to develop them in various areas of common interest, and stressed the firm commitment to further strengthen relations between the two countries. It is also on the sidelines. A memorandum of understanding for cooperation was signed by the director of Diplomatic Institute with his Russian counterpart of the Russian Diplomatic Academy. Now, Health, the Minister of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble Abdullah, met with the representative of the World Bank in Djibouti, Mr. Abubakar Sid Barri, as part of an exchange meeting on the various health programs funded by the UN institution. This meeting was attended by the General Secretary of Health, Dr. Salah Boneta Turab, and several senior officials of the Ministry of Health. The Ministry of Health and the UN officials reviewed the different projects or programs financed by the World Bank in our country. In addition, both parties agreed to accelerate the implementation of these priority health programs that affect several key sectors of the development of the Djiboutian health system. The Ministry of Health, Dr. Ahmed Roble, expressed his satisfaction with the World Bank's continued support for the Djibouti government's effort to modernize its health infrastructure. Now, the General Director of the National Police, Colonel Abdullah Abdi Farah, received today at the General Directorate of the National Police the Chief of the General Staff to the Ethiopian Army, General Berhanu Jula, on a 48-hour working visit in our country. The ceremony was attended by several senior officials of the Djiboutian National Police. Let us note the presence of His Excellency Mr. Berhanu Tsigai, Ambassador of Ethiopia to Djibouti. The discussion were then focused on cooperation and strengthening exchanges between our two countries. At the end of this first visit, the General Director of the National Police, Colonel Abdullah Abdi Farah, and General Berhanu Jula exchanged gifts. Now, as part of the fight against the smuggling of illegal goods, the police elements stationed in the area of Al Sabih, in cooperation with the elements of customs and the armed forces stationed in the region, have conducted a large-scale operation that led to the arrest of a large quantity of cat. The amount of this large quantity of cat is estimated at 5 million Djibouti francs. All this was burned in front of the officials. The people involved will be brought to justice to initiate court charges against them. Moving on to international news now, by promising 500 million doses of vaccine for poor countries, Joe Biden put pressure on the other heads of state. Great Britain, host of the meeting, has already promised 100 million doses. The other G7 leaders who will have to present their precise and quantified contribution. In the end, the G7 should commit to redistributing at least 1 billion doses of vaccine to poor countries. The United States has been criticized for months for not exporting the vaccines it produced. Yesterday, President Biden and British Prime Minister Boris Johnson displayed a unite front on the pandemic. More boldly, they endorsed a new Atlantic Charter to reaffirm their pledge of unity on the major challenges of this century: cybersecurity, emerging technologies, global health, and climate change. After the turbulent years of Donald Trump's presidency and missed a 2020 meeting in the United States due to the pandemic, Boris Johnson's enthusiasm is undoubtedly the feeling that drives all the leaders arriving for this G7 summit in Cornwall, in the seaside resort of Carbis Bay. But this commitment of G7 on the redistribution of vaccines is insufficient for many NGOs like Oxfam or Avas, which sent a message for the beach of Watergate. This is it for this edition of 9 p.m. Thank you for watching us and have a wonderful evening.